3:30 Eastern. Trade Ideas Live Q&A. Getting ready to close down another eventful day in the markets. A couple of days out from Thanksgiving, so always some interesting action going in and coming out of the holidays. I give everybody a few moments to pile in. Hopefully, you can let me know my video and audio looks good for you, and we'll get rolling. As always, I like to keep this a live Q&A, an open forum Q&A. I like it when you guys create the content, ask questions, whether it's about building a scan or making a top list or a compare count window, something to do with Brokerage Plus, a function of Brokerage Plus, the AI, anything like that. That's what I'm here for. Try to help people get the most out of their subscription. And of course, if anybody's here kicking the tires, interested in the software, obviously I'm here to demonstrate any of the capabilities of software that well. How are you, Jerry? Welcome. Happy Tuesday to you. If you're just popping in, Jerry, I keep this an open forum. So if you have questions on the platform, we could look at charts always too. I'm not opposed to looking at charts. I do like to try to keep it more software focused. But, we look at some charts, of course, because we are trading. That's what we're looking to do here. So again, give everybody a moment here to pile in. And we'll get rock and rolling here. All right, well, we had a whole bunch of people pop in, and then we had a whole bunch of people pop back out. Can I short with TI? Well, we can scan for short setups, short ideas. As far as shorting, that'll be on your broker. And we do directly link with Interactive Brokers and E-Trade. So you can directly trade if you have those accounts with trade ideas linked to them, but you can use any broker. We have what we call an external linking function, meaning that if you click on a symbol within Trade Ideas, it'll send it to your broker. From there, you just have to execute and share size. To give you an idea what that looks like, this is my time and sales window from IB. I have it, aside from being directly linked to my IB account, I have an external link to this too. So when I click a symbol here, it's going to load here. So there we are, BITF, SU, SLI. And then, if this was, let's say, Fidelity's Active Trader Pro or Thinkorswim, you'd have your order entry box here, and whether you want to use hotkeys or if you have the preset up share lots, flip through those, of course, and then just hit and execute on that trade. Dan, how are you? Welcome. Dan and YYC. Astronaut Boys, can we look at RIVN? Absolutely, we can look at RIVN. Let's take a look here. What are you doing today, RIVN? All right, so it's a new issue. Yeah, of course, Alexander. And that's what I'm, I feel like a lot of times people are in here, they're not asking questions because they're afraid that, like, oh, I don't want to ask a dumb question. I like everybody to understand that I come from a no finance background. I'm not a seasoned trader in the sense, I went to school for finance and then I worked at a prop firm and then I just let my licenses go because I didn't want to manage money and came here. I'm a career service industry person, completely taught myself how to trade, mostly via the software and the webinars. So if there are no dumb questions as far as I'm concerned. I've asked all the questions and I still have questions sometimes. So I really like it when you guys are asking questions. Just jump on RIVN. There's not a lot for me to comment on, to be honest with this. It's a really new issue. Looks like, kind of trading with the market, to be honest with you. Let's bring over 15-minute SPY chart and pretty much, made a move up. The SPY made a move up. We made a move down. The SPY made a move down. SPY wobbled. Just tried to get up, wobbled, and kind of fading. You got a little wobble and then a fade, so maybe a little detachment here and here on the SPY, but it just seems like it's trading with the market. It's a Nasdaq stock, so it probably looks even closer to a 15-minute Nasdaq chart. So there's no real clear edge as far as I'm concerned, technically. Uh, like I said, no real data. I mean, we could look at, I suppose, we could start to try to throw a line right here, I guess. And we'll see, bang here, almost banged here, in the body of that candle here. Anybody that knows me, that I always knows that I always talk about how pivot lines, whether it's support or resistance, or an approximation, they're not exact. There's whoopsies that happen in them. So there's just not enough data to really say anything. But I do believe that this, and this all kind of coordinate. That's a big range from here to here right there. As far as I'm concerned, you got a $16 range, give or take. So, I mean, that's what I see there. No clear edge on this. Big float. What do we got for a float? 434 on the mills. Let's shrink this up so I can shrink this up too. And I want to widen this out just so we could look at all this data here. There's not a ton to see, obviously. Your cash, your debt. So they look healthy on the balance sheet as far as I can tell. But no, as far as technical goes, not much that I can, there's not much that I could comment on that, to be honest. Let's see. Heard this is a good grab. It might be. I couldn't comment. I don't even know what they do. Profile, design, development, manufacture category, electric. All right. So, I mean, another EV play. Getting the right one, that's the trick. All right. So, I mean, a lot of speculation there with that as far as that's concerned. And like I would say with anything else, if you're looking to trade it, know your trading plan, know your risks, know what you're willing to risk, where you're sticking that stop. Software aside, if you're entering a trade and you don't have a stop in mind, don't enter the trade. You have absolutely no business entering a trade, anybody, myself included. So, all right, interesting. You have to keep that one in mind. Let's see, Chris, what's the best way to learn about custom formulas? Are there any sources in addition to PDF doc? Is there a repository for examples anywhere? I would say for customs, I'm going to give you a video that Michael Noss did. That's really short, but it's kind of short and sweet type of video. Let me find that. Custom formulas. And then from there, it's being creative. That's what I would go with as far as custom formulas go. The two docs that we have are really it as far as the custom formulas go. And what you have to understand is, when people hear customs, they think they can write whatever they want. You can't change look back times on the filters. You can't change, periods or anything like that. You can't make RSI, for example, is a standard 14 RSI period, whether it's, 1 minute or a daily. You can't change the period on that. Same thing with ATR. Anything like that. You can't we don't have EMAs as a data point for filters, so you can't just create an EMA data point and make that. But, to give you an example of something that I did, yeah, exactly, just manipulating existing data points. So I'll show you something that I did, and I'm not a custom person in general, but I don't know, I just was playing around one day and I came up with an idea because, as I mentioned, we're not great when it comes to crosses. But I like cross plays. I think there's, a magic cross play that's going to make you rich? Absolutely not. There's no magic scan. There's no magic anything. What you try to do is find things that work for you individually and, put the odds in your favor. So what I did was I took here our 5-minute 20 SMA and our 5-minute 5 SMA. And I did one below the other, trying to find that cross. And I created this formula and I started plugging in values just to mess around. And what happened was I came across something that found the 5 SMA just below the 20 SMA on a 5-minute chart. And I use that to base for some cross scans I've been working on. I will tell you right now, I've had zero success with those cross scans. But you know, it's put me in a direction of something that I'm looking for. The issue with anything crossing is finding the alert to attach to it. You can make a top list, find things that are close to that cross, and then maybe put some price alerts or something like that in there. But finding that alert, that event, and if anybody's curious what I mean by an alert and event, if we come to configure on any alert window, okay, there's two components to an alert window. One is your alert, your selected alert. So this is the catalyst that gets the alert going, the timestamp, a new high right now for this specific alert window. Then you have your window specific filters in here. All right, your price ranges, your change from close. This one happens to work with some different options volumes. So to give you an idea of what I've done, I'll bring up one of the scans because I do have them running in the background. They've not done a lick worth of anything, but what I have done with these is created this scan here, configure, all right, and I did a whole bunch of optimizations, and I actually over optimized it, which makes it kind of a garbage scan at this point, because in the back test it looked great for a while, and now as it moves forward it looks like trash. But all the same, let's find a different one. Actually, let me get a different scan for you, because I have two different cross ones that I'm trying to work. This one. All right. So what I did here was I took that filter, that custom filter that I showed you, and I mean I can share that custom out. It's not anything magic. And I put it in my cloud, and then I found this value here. So the filter only works with this value, and it finds stocks that are right near a 520 crossing on a 5-minute chart, and I'll show you on a 520 chart on a 5-minute chart. So bring up a new chart. And Omar, I see your question. We can look at Lucid in a second. I just want to kind of show how I did this here with this. So for example, let's look at something a little later. So here's Riot. Let's back this out. That alert came right here. All right. And the blue line is our 20 SMA, and this yellow orange line is our 5 SMA. And you see the alert came here just after the 5 had actually crossed. The 5 actually crossed back here on this candle. But it's an approximation trying to find it. And then the alert I attached is breaking resistance. And we can see, made a nice move actually there off that alert. Actually continued to, wobbled all over the place like crazy. Considering the market today, not too shabby to be up like that. But that's what I did with that essentially. I put that I put those two filters together, and that's what I came up with. So that actual filter, let me find it for you here. If you want the code for that, here's the code for that filter that I created. And like I said, I created it with existing data points within the system. That's not something that I wrote a code for. So that's the existing data point for it, or the existing data points put together. All right. And then, like I said, you have to add a value because it's a filter, a minimum and maximum value to return data. And what I use is here it is, that 520 cross is what I called the filter. And so minus 0.1 in the minimum and a minus 0.02 in the maximum column. And that's got me some stuff that's kind of close. And then this scan I was messing around with, trying to find things that were, open strong, maybe faded a little bit, and then coming back. That was the idea behind this. I haven't back tested it in a few days. I back tested okay, but I really didn't do any optimization with it. I want to let it go because the last few scans that I worked on, I over optimized. As they move forward, they were trash. But let's take a look at a few alerts that came in through here. So, all right, so you can see, look, the cross was happening right there on this candle. Got the cross. All right, 2802 was the alert. All right, so I got it actually right near the top of this candle. There wasn't much on it afterwards, but it found what I'm looking for. The follow through wasn't there, but also it's not exactly a day for follow through in the market too. So, kind of is what it is. XLE came through it. Interesting. And you can see, over and over again where the alert happens. It's close to that cross on that 20 and the 5 SMAs. This one's caught it a little bit further afterwards. So like I said, we have cross alerts. The only issue was when they were originally coded, there's a volume confirmation placed in those, and it cannot just be removed. We tried to just remove them, and then the filter doesn't work. The alert doesn't work the same because they were coded together. Something that they're actively working on in the dev department, but there's a few other things that are kind of more important that they're working on now that are our biggest user requests. So that's the short and skinny of that. And again, if anybody wants that, all right, I shared the code. The code's there. What's in the configure? What it was again? It was a minimum of minus 0.1, right? So you want a minimum value. If you decide that you want to try to use this filter, you want a min value of minus 0.1 and a max of minus 0.01, minus 0.02, I'm sorry. Right? And that will get you things close to a 520 crossing, 5 SMA crossing a 20 SMA on a 5-minute chart. With that, if you had that, you could then take the scan here, and then you could use the scan. But without without that custom filter, the scan won't work. I mean, it'll work, but it's not going to return to you what I'm looking for in it, or what would be looking for it. So there you go. If anybody's interested in that, and that video that I dropped up above, that's how to do customs, how to put them in your cloud. So just for fun, we can mess around. Let's see. I haven't tested this for days. I created it and then I just kind of want to let it go. So what is the scan trying to do here? As far as the back test goes, I'm looking to start trades in between 10:05 a.m. and 12 p.m. Eastern. It's either a 45-minute hold time or a 4.25% profit target. There's no stop loss on this, and we're back testing. We can go back 65 days right now, market data. And let's see what we got. And yeah, so looks great here, and then moving up. And so we'll see what's happening now. Like I said, I didn't over optimize it like I did the other scan that's similar to this, or uses the same filter for finding the cross. That other scan that I did, it looked so pretty on a back test for a while, but I optimized it to the cows come home, essentially. And so we go to the back test of this now, you're going to see that going way back on the back test. It looked great. And now over the last, let's say 6 weeks since it's been, since I've let it run with all the optimizations, it does not look so great anymore. I'll just take a minute for that to round out. I'll have a sip of tea. And so you can see here how great it looked all through here. And now it's just been flat since about here. And this profit factor a few weeks ago was 2.14. And now it's dropped all the way down to here. So it is what it is. The other thing that I liked about this when I was first doing the back testing, and what I look for in a back test, is this chart here. Actually, I'm not seeing a lot of red bars and not seeing big red bars. Now we can see big red bars coming through. So, it is what it is. But an equity curve can be very deceiving on back tests. So if we bring up that equity curve, an equity curve can look great because of 1 or 2 really big days making that scan. And you might never see that repeated again. So when you have consistent green days and consistent small and few red days, that's what you really want in a back test to know you got something working. So anyways, that's the short and skinny there. Nobody's pouring in with questions. You guys have questions, fire them away for me. I know that Omar, right? Was Omar? Yeah, Omar asked us to look at LCID. There's, I'm not going to have much of a comment on LCID. I think it's something that's been ripping, and so there's no real, it's just a total chase at this point. It's detached from the market, and it's going to do whatever it's going to do. Probably has a massive short growth in it at this point, even though we're not going to report that because this doesn't get reported, every day. That stuff gets updated bi-weekly and bi-monthly, depending on what the exchanges feel like doing and what the brokers feel like doing, because they love to hold back numbers and make them look good to whatever they need them to. So we don't get into that stuff. We just work with the data that we have. Things that I can comment negative on it is the fact that you've got this massive run up. Okay. What are you going to do with a massive run up? Certainly not going to chase it. Um, what I will say positive about it, a few things that actually very constructive to me. One, has a pattern that I love, regardless of how that pattern happened. Love that pattern, number one. Number two, you had bag holders that are here that if they didn't get out here, they're never getting out. That's just as simple as that. So, you had all the people with foxhole prayers that bought this up here and are held it all through this and said, oh God, please let me get anywhere back near here so I can get out. If they didn't get out there, they'll be bag holders for life, essentially, or until the stock goes to 1 million, whatever nonsense is going through their head for that. You've got earnings behind it, and it looks good off those earnings, to be honest, and holding that. What else? You're riding an 8 EMA for momentum. So I would say that if you're in it or you're thinking about getting in it, either a 10 SMA or an 8 EMA is your friend for the trend. As soon as it breaks that, I think you break down. That's, my 2 cents. I could be wrong. That's what my thinking would be involved in that. You also want to look at, that's a negative RSI movement in that direction, while you have positive RSI that direction. That is not a signal to buy or anything, just an indication. That's all you want to, for however you want to play that, however you consider RSI divergences. And the last thing I'll comment in is that the volume is now drying up. While this thing has now just traded 85 million shares today on a relative volume scale, that's normal over the last 10 days because of this. So you got this massive decline in volume happening right now. And barring some either interest or news, I don't see any reason the volume picks back up again. So that's my short and skinny as far as LCID goes. Darcy, can you one-click trade from a chart and with OCO orders? Yes, you can one-click trade from a chart as long as you have E-Trade or Interactive Brokers as your broker. Let me show you how we can do that. So let me bring over my Brokerage Plus window. All right, first what we'd have to do is set up a strategy. So we'd come to the Strategies tabs window, and we can go new trading strategy. All right, and that will bring up this window here. And I don't have it, I have it defaulted so that it comes up as this 100 shares at market. So there's no actual alert window attached to it. From there, you start to make the strategy, or make the commands, if you will. What time that this is allowed to run from. Not really important in this case, I don't think, anyways, because we're not looking at automation or something like that. But you do have your order details. Are you going with the fixed dollars, fixed shares? Are you going based on a stop loss? Okay. Are you going a market order or a limit order? Your time in force if it's a limit. If you're doing a limit, then your last price is your reference. I suggest just leave it like that. You're not going to do anything better or outsmart anybody with that. And then you have to choose your offset if it's a limit. From there, your risk management. You're talking about OCO, so I'm guessing you want a bracket order that's attached to us. So, how you're going to stop loss, percent, or a target. All right. And you don't need a hold time. That's kind of irrelevant for what we're doing for this one-click trading. I mean, you can put a hold time if you want to, but usually hold times are more done for automated strategy ideas. And then you press OK. Oh, sorry, one last thing. In the configuration, you got to select the account. You can't just, when you connect to your brokerage or the simulator, that just connects to that body. It doesn't connect to the account. And here's where you connect to the account. So, for this exercise, we choose that. Now, I already have something that's set up here. All right, so if we'd pressed OK, that would appear here as a strategy. Here I have test. All right, this is what I use to show. So the same edit. This is what I've set up here. Fixed shares, $100. I don't have a stop or a target, but let's go with let's put a stop or a target here. All right, so use last price. Let's go with the percent. Let's go with the 5% stop. Okay, there's a 5% stop. Let's go with the target. We'll go with the 5% target. There we go. 5% target, 5% stop. We don't have a hold time, anything like that. We press OK. All right. And now we right click and see how it says default chart long strategy. I already have that checked, so it's already there for me. All right. And then we can come to the positions tab, make sure we got the simulated trading. And now the buy right here on the chart, there's boom, buy, and a click buy, and there we go. Let's see what happens. So there's my orders are in. You can see them here. All right, I've got a limit order in at 52.75. We're at 52.61 on that price, so I could even drag that, try down, try to get a fill. Let's see if it fills me. Boom, must have filled. All right, so there, we got a fill. All right, so use the stop limit to get in. Now my stop and targets are out here. There they are. They're based on the last price reference that we use. Okay, and all those orders are working. Here it is in my tab. If I didn't want to do it like that, let's go with let's flatten this position. All right, so here's a flatten button if I want right here. Boom, flatten, done, out. And now I want to come to the orders tab. That auto canceled that like that there. Okay, always check that your orders canceled. Okay, sometimes depending on what your strategy is, what your broker's doing, they may not automatically cancel those orders. That means you'll have orders sitting there with no position. And that will equal either a short position if the price gets met or a long position if the price gets met, depending on what you're doing. Now we could do also is we can come into the edit strategy. I believe that order details. So I had a limit there. I go market. There's market. Okay, I've edited that strategy. Now we've got it edited and I can come in. Let's just find something else to trade. I don't know. It's KTTA. That's active. All right, boom. So there's KTTA. I want to buy. Here we go. Boom. All right. And I'm in. There we go. There's my 100 shares. There's my closing orders. And pretty simple stuff. And yeah. So there's a half button there. I'm a big fan of the half button actually. I don't think I've ever used the double button. I'm not an add to a loser or add to a winner person really. I've never had to reverse out, but it's there and there's limit out too. If we do that, it's going to bring up a box with the limit price and what we want to do here on that limit out. We already have orders in there for closing, so we don't really need to mess with that. And that's the short and skinny as far as the Brokerage Plus goes. Now the concept would apply if it was your own broker. We could right click, all right, and edit strategy accounts. I have it set up for here. If I was connected to IB, who I use, my IB account would be here, and I would just select that instead, save and OK. And that would do the same thing. Now I'd be trading with my IB account. I don't understand the alert selection process. Are you talking about here in Brokerage Plus or just alerts for an alert window in general there, Amos? Sorry, I'm just catching up on some internal chatter here. These guys are all chatting away, and I don't know if it has to do with tickets that I should be watching. All right. Please discuss and clarify how to use alerts in the scan building process. Alert window. Yeah, you got it. So let's get rid of this window here. Regather myself. Okay, so in alert building process, alert window building process, we click file, excuse me, if we click new, we go alert window. We can start with a clean, fresh, brand new alert window right there. What I always do is because you want columns to show up. If you start from scratch, if you click that start from scratch, you won't have any of these columns here, and you got to select them all. So to save myself the trouble for that, I just start with whatever defaults in here. It's usually going to default to be things you've either been using recently, have used a lot, or have been being used a lot in strategies that you are loading into your layout. So that's where it's going to find these things from. All right. And you could just go right through. And if you really wanted to start it blank, just erase all the values here. All right. And now you're starting blank in the window specific filters. Okay. Selected alert, it's always going to default to be a new high on that selected alert. Okay. And essentially, it's two components that make up an alert window. One is your alert, your event, your new high, your new low, you crossed above resistance, an opening range breakout, a certain kind of candle pattern that we offer. Those are all the things that are alerts or events. So that alert or event has to be happening at the exact same time that whatever filters you've selected and their values are met. So it gives you a timestamp saying on that alert saying, boom, this stock was making, if we were using a new high, for example, this stock was making a new high while all these filters were satisfied at this exact second on this day. And that's where, I'm just going to get out of the configure of this for a minute, but we're going to leave it up for this exercise here. That's where you'll see this A for alert window, and you see in time, if I expand that column out, I can't just expand it like that. There we go. So we can see at 3:46 and 7 seconds on November 23rd, Eastern Daylight Savings Time. That's where this alert came in. And that's what that means by that time-stamped alert. That's what happened. So when we're configuring in a scan, we have to decide, what do we want for our event to trigger the catalyst of our filters being met at that time? All right. And you have all these different alerts to go through. The alerts are indicated by these kind of icons here versus your filters that are all indicated by these icons here that have a double icon, this tealish color and this purple color here, indicating minimum and maximum values of those filters. So, the alert is just as an important part and component of a scan as the filters are. But you can scan without an alert. You can say, I just want to see the filters met. And that's where the top lists come in. All right. And if we were in a top list configure, two things would happen. One, we wouldn't see any of these alerts in the search. It would only be filters in the search. It would only look like these ones down here. It would only look like these down here. And there would be no selected alerts tab to look at in the top list. And top list function by cycling every 30 seconds back and forth to our servers with every stock that meets the criteria of the scan. All right. So did that help clarify anything, Amos, or did I make things worse? And same thing, anybody else, whenever I'm, someone asks a question and I'm doing a demo for them, don't be afraid to either add questions to what we're running on or throw out questions that have something to do with something completely different. I can circle back and forth, between multiple people's questions. What is the heartbeat for? Good question. So the heartbeat is an old function of the software that still actually serves a purpose for starting our data stream in the morning. I won't get into all the specifics behind that because first off, I'm not a coder, so I don't want to butcher what this actually does behind the scenes, but just know that it has a function behind the scenes that creates our data stream. It helps create our data stream in the morning. It was an old function before top list that worked like a top list, where it used to work on a 5-minute pulse. So every 5 minutes, it would pulse out to the servers and return every stock that met the criteria of that scan of those filters every 5 minutes. Because of the addition of top lists and us able to speed up the server pulse to 30 seconds, it's lost, it's a general scanning function, but you could still technically use it. And if you did select it, I believe you can put in, 0.5, meaning every 30 seconds. I believe that would give you a 30-second pulse like a top list. Where it will differ from a top list is this will just keep populating things on your alert window, where the top list will cycle things on and off. This will only start to cycle things off the alert window if you have 1,000 items in the scan, because the scan can only hold 1,000 items in it at one time. So if you had an alert window that had a heartbeat and you got to 1,000 items had alerted through that heartbeat, when you get to 1,001, the first one will come off that list to put the 1,001 1,001st item on there. So again, if hopefully I'm being clear about that. If I'm not, I can circle back on any of this. So just let me know. I'll take a pause for the cause here. And just let me know if I'm clear, if I'm adding to questions that need to be, if that covers everything you're looking for. Yes, when a new high on the day or a new low on the day is met, plus the filters of the scan. So I'd probably say fairly confident that new high and new low are the most popular alerts used. I don't know that I wouldn't say they're the best. I think just because they're clear and you have so many people that want to be momentum traders and they want to trade things breaking to new highs and things, they happen to get the most love. I was one of those people that used the new high a ton. I've been experimenting with a lot of alerts recently, more than I ever have. Just messing around with scan building, seeing what it's going to return to me, really familiarize myself with it. And look, I'd say to people all the time, there is absolutely no such thing as the magic scan. It doesn't exist. If you're looking for a magic scan, you want a lottery ticket. That's what you want. Your odds are about as good there. But it doesn't hurt to experiment, to back test. Don't over optimize on your back test and try to come up with a scan that looks good, going backwards and forwards to put odds in your favor. All right. Obviously, we've created some stuff, with Holly here. That's some pretty darn good looking stuff that's come out. Is it a guaranteed winner every time? No. But look at today. Today's a hard day in the market. Yesterday's a hard day in the market. And I'll tell you this right now, trading all time highs is hard as heck, with the exception of a hiccup we had with Holly a couple of weeks ago, where for some reason she just alerted like 4 things in 4 days or something like that. Uh, she's had some outstanding alerts. Are all those alerts managed well in automation? No, but on a trader's eye, are they managed well? You better believe I've seen some really amazing stuff, and today's no exception at all whatsoever. So is it possible to make some scans and have some really great stuff put in your favor? Absolutely. And there's nothing inside Holly as far as alerts and filters that doesn't exist without that you don't have the capability of doing. What we don't have is the servers and what we call the hopper that she goes into to optimize and backtest. We would like to someday make that available for users, but for now, the technology just isn't there. But the alerts and filters that are inside Holly that create her to actually make these alerts happen, you have access to every single one of them. So I guess if all three alerts you have on the scan window are selected, all three are required. No, alerts act independently of each other at all times. So if I were to click all these as alerts, 1, 2, 3, they will only react with the filters. They don't react with each other. And that's why I always tell people I don't think it's a great idea to put a lot of alerts in one scan, because one set of filters may work great for one alert, but it may not work great for the other alerts. That's just my personal opinion. I've seen people make a scan with with 2 or 3 alerts in it where they actually did work well with the filters that were in there, but there was a theme to it that the filters and the alerts all had the same kind of theme, breaking resistance theme, if you will. And it doesn't mean it's always going to work like that, but I personally think that you're best off creating individual scans for individual alerts and Windows filters. And then from there, if you've got, let's say, 2 or 3 or 4 alert windows that you've created that you like, but you're limited in space as far as monitors go, that's where the multi-window function comes in. I'm going to get rid of this here, and I'm going to bring up multi-window. Let's go to one that I already have in my cloud. We'll go here, and we'll go with Turbo Family Up. It's an oldie but a goodie. I don't really trade it much anymore, but I like it for multiple reasons. So we're going to load that. Here it is, Turbo Family Up. And this actually has, I believe, 3 different scans in it. 1, 2, 3, let's see. Yeah, 1, 2, 3 scans, and it has 3 individual alert windows in it. Now, the 3 in here all have very similar things going on. And the real big difference between them is they're sectioned by market cap, actually. But my point being is, let's say that I had 3 different alert windows in here that all had different alerts in them. One's a new low, one's a check mark up, and one's a standard deviation alert, for example. And they all have different filter sets and they're completely different scans. But I could put all three of those in here to save me space, and then I can color code each one to know which alert is making, which strategy is making which alert. So again, hopefully, I'm making sense and being helpful to what you've got, where you're pursuing, the avenues you're pursuing in questions here. I'm gonna take the pauses for a second here, let my words catch everybody's brains. And again, I just, I'm working with Amos on this here. Please ask questions if anybody else has questions. They want to piggyback on what he's asking here. They want to go in another direction. I can circle back and forth between questions. I'm more than happy to. Yeah. So what you would do here for an alert window, if I wanted to put an alert window in here, so let's just say, for example, I want to put this alert window in here now. All right. What I would do is I would right click, collaborate, and this is going to give me this URL link in here, and I'm going to copy that. Okay, we're good there. And now I'm going to right click this scan, and I'm going to go to strategies. I'm going to put new strategy, and I'm going to go to collaborate. I'm going to get rid of what's already loaded in here. All right, that default. I'm going to paste what I just copied in here, and boom, now I have that right in here, new strategy. So the collab is a fun feature to have. It's fun, it's easy, it's convenient. A really great feature to have for sharing intra software sharing scans, intra layout sharing scans. Darcy, can Market Explorer RSI be used in a top list? No. The Market Explorer runs on some technology that's just not manageable from the user side. It's not manageable from my side either. Really, two people kind of run the Market Explorer and the data that gets pushed in and out of that. So it is what it is. We hope to one day start to be able to push this data out to users where they can do some more configurations themselves. But at the moment, this is what we've got as far as it goes. So you have to work with what it is. And let's see, TI strength alerts here coming through. This one was on the strength alerts a few weeks ago. Funny. It was on the strength alerts right before it made this move, as a matter of fact. I love this right here. This is actually stock I've been watching for quite a while. I've never actually traded the stock, and I've been watching it from here. And every time I want to pull the trigger, it always makes the move without me. One of those ones I just always kind of gun shy to pull the trigger on. But you got this beautiful base here, big gap up. Try to test it, can't, and we're curling up. And not only we're curling up, but on the market we've had the last few days to be making moves like that, I gotta say it's pretty impressive. It fell off the truck yesterday with everything else, but then recovered kind of nicely on its own, and a gap and go steady on it all day long. So another nice one coming from the uh, TSI alerts. Not everything coming through here is perfect, but certainly some setups that I enjoy coming through here. RF, another beautiful one here. I really like this. And banks have just been so damn strong. Financials have been so damn strong. Refractal patterns nonstop. That's what my eye sees. And I always tell people, I always caution people, I'm biased. I see this pattern on trees when I'm driving my car. That's how biased I am to it. I just like it. It works well for me. Just what I always see. Doesn't mean it's always there. So I accept that and I disclaimer that I just always seem to find that pattern. This one's property. I thought this was another bank here. Finding that again, finding strength in a week, in a week couple of days here. And, I'm sure the bears are, out on Twitter and wherever else they hang out, making all the claims in the world that the party's over and the Grim Reaper's here. I'll believe the Grim Reaper's here when we dip below 400 on SPY again. Anyways, with all that said, hopefully I've kind of answered your last question there, Darcy and Amos. But keep plugging away. If you have more questions, you have more things, or I didn't cover something the way you wanted me to, or I wasn't clear in an answer. We got about 15 minutes here. We're just inside 15 minutes before I wrap up for the day. So keep, when you guys are asking questions like this, what's going on? This is what I'm here for. This is why I did this live Q&A. Even if it's 5 people in here, 6 people in here, 3 people in here, I'm here for you for you to get the most out of the software. All right, perfect. Good. I like to hear that part too. But keep the questions coming. Also, don't ever feel you got to back off the questions because you've asked a bunch. Ask a bunch more. Other than that, I'm gonna just hit a few charts in here. Just kind of amazing some of these things that come through here today. I was, busy, occupied elsewhere. Boy, I wish I'd turned my attention to this earlier today. I don't think I was really going to trade, but all the same. Finding strength in some choppy days here for sure. You wonder why I clicked the lower ones. I like to trade stuff in between 10 and 30 bucks. How can I sort the column of an N window? You can't sort an M window like you can a T window. You can change the columns. So we can right click. We go to properties and we go to columns. We can choose what columns we want. Pull the columns on and off. We can search for columns. If it's, here's what's displayed or selected. Here's some quick ones that you can add real fast going left to right. Whoops, that's no good. Are you going to crash? So I'm on a developmental version here, so it crashed me. I have to send a file and make a bug report. So I got to load TI again. So this is why we have developmental versions before we send it out to you all in the trade idea sphere. So just give me a moment while I reload TI. Just have to move my windows back around again for this here, but keep plugging away the questions. Hopefully that answers your question as far as the columns go. As I resize everything. And last but not least, Holly. And well, it was a quiet day for her. 1, 2, 3 winners. Change from entry, $3 on that winner. Not too shabby there, Holly. Very nice. And did it on a long strategy. Look at that. That's impressive. All right. Good so far. Thank you for being here. Yeah, I'm happy. Listen, Jerry, as I mentioned right at the top of this, I'm a self-taught trader. I learned everything that I learned basically through trade ideas. If I couldn't get the explanation I wanted here, I went back and I Googled, I looked things up in some different books that I bought as far as, terminology. What is an SMA? What is an EMA? How are they calculated? Things like that. So, a lot of work that I had to do on my own, but, I treated trade ideas like a school. and they had all the free webinars and all the free trading room. And then once I was ready, I took a few months before I subscribed to Trade Ideas. And once I was ready, it was like I bought the book to the school finally. I was attending class without a book almost, and buying the book was, getting the subscription. So, it's possible. It's possible for people to make it as a trader. It's hard as hell, but it's definitely possible for anybody to do it. So, do you do much longer swing scanning? It seems it's tailored to day trading, maybe more. This is what I tell people. It's data interpretation and your trading plan. I have a scan. I call it my evening scan. I swing trade off of it. I find 2, 3, 4 day holds on it. If I enter something on a day and let's say I get a big move during that day, yes, I'm going to sell some shares and lock some profit in for sure. But I like to try to let things on it run for a few days. So I'm going to bring it over. I call it my evening scan 1. Someday it's going to load. There we go. All right. This is it right here. It's a very simple scan. I use it to find kind of horseshoe up patterns and cup and handle patterns on daily charts that I think are breaking some resistance. There's nothing fancy about this scan whatsoever, and I will share it in a moment here. For anybody that doesn't have it, if we come to the configure of the scan, it's a top list. So I do my scanning for this after hours or before hours, either after the market's closed or before the market opens the next day. What am I doing in the scan? This is what I'm doing. I'm looking for stocks in between $4 and $30. I want to see it's above 75% above the low of a 20-day range, 75% above the low of today's range. I want to see its relative volume was 1. I want to see it traded 750,000 shares minimum today. So I want to know that there's going to be some liquidity in this for the next couple of days at least. All right, and that's all I do. Nothing fancy. There's no tricks or trades to this. All right. And I go through what's in here, and yes, there's going to be some stuff that's way extended. I bet this is going to be kind of extended on a intraday move. Yes, but I just want to see it all anyways. All right. So we go through a few of these. All right. Now this same scan that I'm using to find my swing setups, I shared with someone once. They are a momentum trader. They like in and out. And they said, I don't understand how you use it to find swing setups. I think it's a better intraday scan. Same exact scan, 2 different styles of traders, 2 different trading plans. My written trading plan, my plan that decides what gets me in a stock. How do I share size? How do I set a stop? How am I looking to manage that trade on the upside? Because I don't do targets. I manage trades to the upside based on what I see, in past resistance and things like that and current resistance. Exact same scan. He could not get his head around that I see this to find swing setups. Just, just is what it is. What am I looking for in setups here? This will be a good one. So a few things I look for. This one I've been watching for a while. You can see it's hearted in my liked. Love that. And I love this within that right there. All right. Then what do I really love? I love this gap. All right. And why do I love that gap? Because this is what gaps can do. I'm going to show you the good, the bad, and the ugly of gaps, and something that I was traded and watched just like this. BLUE. Now, BLUE made a beautiful move into this gap right here and basically closed that gap before that happened. So there's your good, the bad, and the ugly of that gap. Almost the exact same setup here that I just showed you, something coming through, and this came through my evening scanner, and it came through here. All right. And I traded it there, and I didn't do amazing. I, didn't fund a semester of college, but, paid a month's worth of bills. I had my trading plan, what got me in, what got me out from finding this, and I put it on a short list that I manage of stocks that I like in here. And I waited and bided my time, and I was able to make a trade off that. All right. So I know people get hung up that they think it's a day trading platform, but it's data interpretation. Someone else could look at this chart and see this chart completely different than I saw this chart. It just is what it is. It's what our eyes see. It's what our personalities are. It's what our trading plan is. But without a trading plan, scans are irrelevant anyways. So hopefully it kind of like sheds some light, Darcy, and make some sense what I mean to, it doesn't matter the scanner necessarily. It's how are you interpreting that data? What am I looking for? Oh, I want to share the scan with you. So, you can take it, you cannot take it, doesn't matter, my evening scan 1, you can take it, you can make it your own, you cannot take it, decide that it doesn't look right for you. Copy, paste, share. So there it is for you to do, any of you to do as you please. And some of the things on here I've actually been watching for a while. Yeah, Michael uses it for swings, but Michael has his own trading plan. He has a set of scans that work for his trading plan. And I'll be honest, Michael is using the Market Explorer almost, I'll say, for the trades that he's mentioned that he's gotten into to us in our traders channel, behind scenes here. A lot of them are coming through the strength alerts. He's trading a lot of stuff that's off of here. I believe he mentioned he took a position in this, as a matter of fact, today. And this is in the strength alerts newsletter that went out. He mentioned he took a position. I don't know where exactly, but I think he took a position somewhere in here. I don't know if he got it up here or down here or whatever, but he took a position in that today. So, now how he's managing that trade, I have no idea, but I'll tell you this. Talk about a chart I love. Okay, 1, 2, 3. You got horseshoe within horseshoe within horseshoe. All right. And on a day where the markets a couple of days where the markets all acting wacky, a nice uptrend happening in this on a couple of tough days in the market here. So, I don't know. Did he set a stop here? Did he set a stop here? Did he set a stop here? I don't know. And I think that's really, he's been really trading almost all of that off of really anything he's mentioned recently has been coming from there, I think. To be honest, the TI strengths, a lot of what I've been doing has been coming off the TI strength. I don't know what the math is and the filters in this, but actually there's quite a few things that show up here that show up on my evening scan. So whenever I see anything that's on my evening scan and I see something that's on here, I'm taking a real extra hard look at it. Can you external link the TI strength scan? Yeah, absolutely. So here's my, this is my time and sales window from IB, but you could do it with any window from any brokerage, Active Trader Pro from Fidelity, Thinkorswim from TD. I don't know who else is out there. Those are the big ones that come to the top of my head, but look, ready? And put that right in there. Lightspeed is that's someone, right? Or is Lightspeed charting? I can't remember. If you have a charting platform, we link to most of the charting platforms too. Where you might run into some trouble is you're trying to link to multiple things at the same time. I had someone was troubleshooting the other day. They're using TradingView and Lightspeed. Might have actually been. I'm not sure. And the TradingView Lightspeed was stealing the symbols from TradingView, so it wouldn't work. So I could have one on or the other, but they wouldn't work together. So again, it's taking our software and trying to make it work with everybody else's. These people don't know we're linking to their software. They have no idea. And if, they're certainly not going to help us do it. But yeah, so the external linking works great there. Or any Explorer scans. Yeah, all of these here. I mean, I could change the server window, 820 gap. It's all working right there. You can see that's the 820 cross on the relative volume. Let's go do 3-line strike short. Same thing. All working right here. I know some people have some trouble with external linking. The keys to external linking is start both programs in an administrative mode. What do I mean by that? What do I mean by that? Let me clear some space here. Get rid of some of this stuff. So if you start both problems in admin mode, your broker and TI, or your target program, I should say. What do I mean by admin mode? Right click, run as administrator. For external linking, run both as administrator. All right. And then, check to see if there's a rule. What do I mean by rule? If we go to external linking, let me bring over an external linking window. Here's our external linking. I'm just going to, hold on, sorry. Make sure I'm not going to show my brokerage account. Edit link. Okay. I'm safe. All right. You go to edit link. You have these drop downs for different things. If you are using Thinkorswim, don't use the Thinkorswim link. No beginning, no use, no rule for Thinkorswim. No beginning cutoff, no alternative method. I use Thinkorswim for years and years and years with external linking, and no issues ever once for me with Thinkorswim. The only issue that we do, yes, okay, so there is one issue with Thinkorswim. They don't play well with our platform, but they don't play well with anybody because they have a lot of things, probably more than anybody else, going on in the background that steals the focus from where the symbol's being delivered to. So once in a while, you have to click back into the symbol field. What do I mean by symbol field? If this was the Thinkorswim box where the symbol's getting sent, just once in a while you got to click in that box again so it knows to send it's copy paste program, so it knows to send it there. The same thing with DOS. I see something came in with DOS. Am I imagining that? No, I saw that, right? Let me make sure. Sorry, bring up the questions. We'll link to it, but if you're trying to link DOS and some other stuff and with trade ideas, they fight with each other. And once again, it's us making our software work with other people's software with no help from them whatsoever. So it's a is what it is kind of situation. We do what we can. We make updates when they make updates. We try to keep current with any changes that they make, but at the end of the day, they don't provide us any assistance for us to link to them. It's all us to try to put our square peg in their round holes. NT8 works, use it years testing. So, all right. So good to know. So, all right. I guess that's going to bring us to mid-hour. I do have to take off as I'm like everybody else getting ready for the holiday season here and all that fun stuff. I always end with this. First, I thank everybody for coming in and spending time with me, asking questions and engaging. You guys are why I'm here. You're why I do this. Second, this stream opens every single day at 9 o'clock Eastern. Barry, runs the Trader's Room. He runs it from two sides, including this YouTube side. He opens at 9 o'clock. He runs to noon each day, Monday through Friday, barring holidays, of course. And then he gives up for the stream for an hour to someone like myself that does a live Q&A similar to what I've got going on here for an hour. Barry takes it back over again at 1 o'clock Eastern every day, runs to 3 o'clock. We let the stream rest for half an hour while I get prepared and do some things on the other support side of things where I work here. And then I fire the stream up again at 3:30 Eastern every single day. I like it to be an open forum. I don't prepare any content. I want it driven by you all. The reason why I want it driven by you all is because I feel it's better if we're asking questions and learning and growing together. I can show you guys anything, but if it's not something that's relevant to you, it doesn't really stick. It doesn't make a difference in anybody's function of the platform or trading or anything like that. So again, I thank everybody for all the questions, comments, and interactions. We will be back here tomorrow, do it all over again. We'll pause for Thursday, and then I'm not sure what the Friday schedule looks like since it's a half day, but maybe I'll jump in and take over the stream from Barry at some point on Friday for a little bit if there's people around. So again, I thank you all. I'll let you all off the hook for the day, and you have a wonderful rest of your Tuesday, and we'll catch you back here tomorrow, 3:30 Eastern. Bye-bye. Take care, everyone. Be safe.